It's Dragon Ball time! Hello, welcome to another figure review. Today we're gonna have a look at the SH Figuarts Son Goku in the Super Saiyan 4 version. Boy oh boy, this one has a long time coming. I feel like we've seen prototypes for years of this one. And I always wanted it, because GT wasn't really good. But this form, I love this form. I just love this form. I know it's kind of stupid looking with the red eyeshadow and the red fur on him. But, you know, Super Saiyan 4, it's feral, it's like more aggressive, and that's what gets to me. So, I'm beyond ecstatic to have this figure. Let's get into it and see if it's actually good. So, Shadow the Hedgehog stands at about 16 centimeters to the tippy top of his hair. You would be like 14 to the top of his head, which means we are going up to 6.2 inches tall. Size comparisons. Here's Jalter, NECA Michelangelo, SH Figuarts Silver Goku, Arknight Shen, and Darkseid. For your overall look in detail, I guess I have to address one thing first. This guy is made in Vietnam, and that seems to be an issue that some people are having, because some figures are made in Vietnam and some are being made in China, and apparently the ones in Vietnam, they have some breakage issues. I was wondering, because at the same time I bought this Bulma figure, which I'm going to review obviously, which is made in China, and it's a bit more, well actually the Bulma figure is a bit more expensive than this big bulky hunk of man, so I was just wondering about that. Some people talk about breakage. I have not had any issues so far, but let's dive into the review. I just wanted to mention that, I guess, just so you're in the know of all these things going on. I haven't really bought so much SH figures in a while, so I wasn't really sure about it. The face sculpt, however, looks so nice. I love it. Look at how anime accurate is it if you're getting it from the right angle. He has the angry eyes, and he has a little bit of a longer nose, which I think is absolutely correct. Now, the one thing you might tell is like, well, the hair doesn't really line up, and it's true. It's just kind of pushing it down. It likes to move around. That's maybe one of the things. Also, the face and the hands are not painted, which does create a little bit of an issue when you compare it to the chest. I don't know how well you can see it under the camera, but it does have a little bit of a different color, and we have some more of that on that later. I love the hair sculpt, and I also love that they actually added some articulation in it. You have some ball hinges in the back, so it does absolutely help with moving it around and getting it into different poses. Also, the ones that kind of drape over his shoulder, you can move those out so it doesn't block the articulation there. So just something I wanted to mention. And the fur. The fur is so super nicely sculpted, and it does look great. Could use some shading, which apparently, well, we don't have that. But I mean, most of the paint is clean on the chest plate. They have a little bit of bleeding, but it's not too bad. What I feel is a bit annoying is that the hinges, especially on the shoulder and on the elbow, you can tell it's a different color. It's a different shade of red, and it's kind of unfortunate. However, I gotta give him props on the other side for actually molding the fur also in all of the joints, which, you know, makes it look nice and seamless if it had the same color. Then we move down to the face, as I was telling you. You can see it's a little bit, it looks a lot more plasticky because it's obviously unpainted skin tone. And then the belt just wraps around. You have the tail in the back, which also has the pants ripped up a little bit, which is cool. I appreciate that. And we move down to the pants, which actually look pretty good. There's a lot of shading in it, just like draped over it. It looks good. It has the big puffy pants, and down to the shoes with some more ball hinges in there, unpainted blue ball hinges. Again, a little bit of a different shade of blue, but not really too noticeable because you can barely see it. But one thing, actually, before I get to the articulation, some of the joints are fairly loose. I mean, mostly in the head. Just kind of, you know, look at it with one finger. I'm able to just wiggle this around and just like moving it around. Let me do a little bit of shaking. Well, you can't really tell, but you hear there's something wiggling around. And then there's also the feet, way too loose, kind of. He does hold poses, but I feel like this is something that might collapse over time, especially now. And how do you tighten this? I don't even know. So moving on to the actual articulation though. So for the head sculpt, it's on a long ball pack, so it does go back and forth, does tilt side to side, and would go all the way around, but I don't want to push it too far with the hair right now. Also have a neck joint, which actually just goes back and forth, which is kind of disappointing considering how much space they left over here. But still, then you have the hair, as I mentioned, it does move out to the side, and it has a little bit of up and down, probably just on small ball hinges, but again, I think it's really cool. Right? It does actually go back quite far, so if you want to make some poses where it powers up, Same for the hair in the back, that goes up and down, and you can also, well, a little bit up and down. And you can also bring it out to the side. Then you have these, not really butterfly joints, because as you can tell, it completely moves around. I think it might be on another ball. And then you have the ball pack that goes into that, so you can move up the shoulder like that and just wiggle it around. Also goes all the way around, no problem there. And obviously you have the hinge in there, so you can bring it up quite far. Does a good job. Bicep swivel also pretty loose. Double hinged elbow. Fist is on another ball hinge, does go back and forth, also swivels. For the chest area, have some back and forth motion, does tilt side to side, and it doesn't really go all the way around. For the hip part, that rotates around freely, have some back and forth as the, yeah, okay. That's to be expected, that's not even a problem with the figure. And also the tail is on another ball hinge, which is super loose. I'm just like taking the entire ball hinge so it doesn't break off. That seems kind of brittle. For the legs, moves forward, moves out to the side, does have a little bit of coverage over there, which is cool. Doesn't really go to the back because the pants are molded super widely down there because of the butt, I guess. Also can rotate it on the top, but if you don't like that, you also have a 5 swivel down here. Double hinged knees, goes up all the way, and the lackluster ball hinge just in the feet, as I'm telling you, goes back and forth. Does have a pivot, a little bit side to side. Does can also rotate the entire ball all the way around. Now I kind of get stuck in there, but I have to readjust that. And a toe hinge to round it off. For your accessories, first of all, high praise for these hands. This is specifically for the energy effect. That's why it has the pack, because the energy effect has one pack hole, so you can connect it to it, which I fucking love, because I hate it when they did it, especially for the early SH Figuarts. They would often do this energy effect, so it's nothing special. But you would fumble around with it, kind of put it in Goku's hands, and then get it in a good pose with all this stuff not hitting his body, and you just put it on the shelf, and then it would go like, it would just fall off. So big props also, by the way. There's like the energy effect, which it's decent, has some nice kind of red pink going on. It's going a little bit brighter in the top parts of it, so that's fine. Also, you have to connect all these things. Probably gonna use it because it has a connection to the hands. Oh my god, I'm so happy about that. Anyway, then you got the booby grab hands, the more fighting style posing hands, the one instant transmission hand. You only need the one because it only uses just one hand for it, and 2 open hands for like blast effects and whatnot. Actually, I got 2 instant transmission hands. I got it wrong. Wow, I thought you always just used the right one. Am I incorrect there? Anyway, got the yelling face, got the smirk, and then you also got one angry gritting teeth face looking to the side. And that's it. Oh, Payne, you just said you're gonna use the energy effect and you put them in the battle pose. Yeah, I did that because I said like the joints are somewhat wonky and unreliable at some parts, but it does work. If you balance everything out right, posing this guy is actually a lot of fun and can do a bunch of cool dynamic poses, I feel like, especially with all the articulation that goes in the chest area and in general. You can do some good stuff. You can kind of try to keep the head in place also with the hair, which is a weird tactic, but it does work. So overall, final thoughts on this figure. I can't really find anything too bad about it. I think this guy looks great. I think this guy moves great. Do have all the accessories that you need for him. And overall, the things I complain about really just kind of fade away once I try to play around with him, once I try to move him around. It does work, and the small issues I have with it don't really seem to affect the entire package too much. So, that's gonna do it, guys. I do recommend this one, obviously. If you're a fan of Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball GT, and especially this design, I do recommend it. And since it comes from the Vietnamese factory, it's, at least for me, it was a bit cheaper than like the regular one. So I don't see that much of a drop in quality, so I'm happy with it. That's gonna do it. Yeah, again, recommend it. That's gonna do it as usual. Thank you very much for watching. Don't forget, if you enjoyed this review, hit it up with a like and subscribe to the channel so you can stay tuned for more figure reviews, card game stuff, and whatever Super Saiyan 4 Goku wants.